Hi there, this is my guide to getting better photographs with your mobile phone. So this video is going to be a little bit different than my normal style, and it's really aimed at beginners who want to get into photography but only have the camera on their mobile phone. Now everybody today walks around with a camera in their pocket, on their phone, but not everybody knows how to use it to its best effect. And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. Now this idea came about because I saw a photograph from my father-in-law who took a picture in Wales over a lake. There was an amazing shot because the lake water was really still and there was some great cloud patterns, and I thought that if a mobile phone can take that kind of shot, then it's something that everybody could do as well. So stay tuned, I'm going to help you to enjoy your photography. Just before the video gets started, I want to let you know of a few ways that you can support the channel. There are lots of items in my Teespring store, and there's a link for that down below in the description. A really big thank you to everybody that's bought something. It's such a big help and it really is appreciated. You can also do all the stuff with the buttons down below, such as clicking like, subscribe and sharing the videos, and don't forget to click the bell. Thanks so much for watching. Now sit back and I hope you enjoy the video. The first question people will ask is, what is the difference between a mobile phone camera and a normal camera? Now the first thing to notice is the quality that you get at the end. If you're really serious about your photography, then you really need a better quality camera. That's not saying that you don't get some good quality out of a mobile phone camera, but there's a lot of technology that goes into producing the photograph from a mobile phone camera that helps it to look good on a small screen or on a social media or something along those lines. If you were to blow it up to be very large or really examine it, then the quality can tend to suffer. So my phone isn't particularly high-end. It's a Samsung A51, but it does have 4 cameras in its camera block, which gives it a bit of advantage. The main camera, which is the best quality, is the one I'd suggest using for most things, but then there's also an ultra-wide lens, so that allows you to get lots of things in the frame. There's also a macro lens for going in really close to subjects, and there's a depth camera that allows you to blur the background. Now the phone will take care of which lens it's selecting. You don't need to do that because it's all part of the clever stuff inside the phone. One thing that beginners will think is that a sunny day is a really good time to take a photograph, but I've set this shot up on purpose to show you why it's not. If you look at the background to this shot now, it's very bright, but I'm quite dark, and there's no way that the camera can sort that out. Even the cleverest camera cannot cope with that amount of difference in brightness from the sky here to me in the foreground. So it's actually better to take photographs on a dull day. If you do want to take a selfie or pictures of people on a bright day like today, find somewhere shaded like I am at the moment, and that will produce a much better picture. Another few tips I can give you for taking selfies is when you are taking the photo, don't look at your picture on the screen, look at the little hole where the camera is, because it will engage you more. I'll show you what I mean by that. At the moment I'm looking straight into the lens, but if I look at the screen on the camera that I'm filming on, it doesn't quite feel as engaging as when I look straight at the lens. The other thing is to think about your composition. One of the things that people will do is they'll frame their person so their head is in the middle of the frame like I am now, and that's nowhere near as pleasing as if the person is higher in the frame. It just feels better. Clearly, there are lots of advantages to having a phone camera, and the main one is it will be in your pocket the majority of the time. So it's great for things like parties or just that impromptu shot when you see a sunset that's brilliant and you don't have a camera with you, or even things like just taking a picture of a phone number so you don't forget it. But if you do actually want to move your photography on to take better shots, then probably the first thing that you need to consider is composition. Now, one of the first rules in composition is make sure that your subject is really clear to the viewer. Behind me is a style. Now, admittedly, it's not the most photogenic thing that I could have found, but it serves the purpose for this demonstration. What I've done first of all is I've taken a very wide shot from quite a distance away, and I've put the style right in the middle of the image. It's really not very pleasing, but then what I've done is I've gone a lot closer and I've turned the phone into portrait instead of landscape and just included the style, and it's a much better composition because we know where we're supposed to focus. So in this image here, I've used a couple of really useful compositional techniques. First of all, I've got a tree here in the foreground, so it's in front of the barn, so that gives a little bit of depth to the image. There's also a shadow on the tree that's forming a leading line. Then I've put the tree on the thirds, which basically means I've split the image into 3 parts and the tree is on one of those lines. Now, if you'd like to find out more details about compositional techniques, I go into more detail in some videos that I've made, so I'll link those down below in the description and up above in a card. Now, one really handy feature on modern mobile phones is the macro mode, and what this allows you to do is get really close to a subject and still be able to focus on it. So I found a flower here that I can get within about 3 to 5 centimeters from and still get a good shot. Now, there's several tips that I can give you to just help you take better macro shots. One is think about the background as well, because I've got a shot of this flower with a clean background, and then I only move the phone ever so slightly to one side and I got some highlights down behind the flower that are distracting. So try and think about everything that's around the flower as well. Also, it might be useful to think about adding some extra light, so I can turn the flash on to throw some extra light at the subject, especially if the phone itself is shading the flower, which it might be. If you can keep it in some bright light, it will just help, but if you can't, then turn the flash on and that will help give you a better shot. So a lot of people will think taking photographs in bright sunlight is the best time to take photographs, but it really isn't. If you look at this image here behind me, the church door is in shadow and the roof is brightly lit. So if I try and take a shot with my phone, it will really struggle to cope with the range of tones between the dark and the light. And what will happen is I'll get a fairly well exposed door, but the roof will go far, far too bright. So it doesn't make for a very pleasing image. Now, some phones do have what's called an HDR function, and basically what that does is it takes several different shots and combines them together. And this can be quite effective, but my phone doesn't have that function. Now, if you can't fit the entire shot in the frame, or if you want to do a 180 or even a 360-degree point of view, you can use a panorama mode. Basically what you do is you take a shot and move the camera as you go once it's in panorama mode, and then the phone will stitch everything together into one great big long photograph. It'll do all the magic for you. Now, when you're taking this kind of photograph, just a few things to bear in mind. Try not to tilt the phone forwards and backwards, because that will really make it difficult for the phone to stitch it together. And also try and avoid any straight lines, because they'll come out really curved and it'll feel really strange. Look really carefully when you take a photograph. Behind me is a piece of farm machinery that looks really photogenic, but it's spoiled ever so slightly by the bin that's just to its right, and because it's on somebody's private property, I can't go and move it. Now, normally if I was taking a shot of that, I'd just move that out of the way and it would improve the shot no end. One thing I would avoid doing, unless it's absolutely necessary, is using the zoom too much. I took a picture this morning of a mallard in our back garden using the phone, and when you zoom in on it, the quality really deteriorates. So only if it's really essential would I use the zoom. Here's something to try and avoid. In this field here behind me is a horse, and I've just taken its picture, but because it's so far away, the phone can't really get close enough to it, and so it appears like a little dot, and it's really not clear that it's a photograph about a horse. If it was really important to record something that you're never ever going to see again, then this kind of thing is okay as a record shot, but it doesn't make for a very pleasing photograph. If you do want to get a picture of a horse, it's much better to get up really close, and you can't get much closer than this. So if you're new to photography, using a mobile phone is a great way to practice your techniques to get them better, because basically if things go wrong, you can just delete the photographs. But it is a really useful way of thinking about how you take the photographs to try and improve them. What is important is find something that you enjoy and take photographs of that, and it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks, but you can improve your photographs by looking at other people's and copying their styles, or looking at YouTube videos and learning different techniques and just getting different ideas. And then once you find that you've really got the bug, then you can start to think about investing in some better equipment. Now, if you found this video useful, I've got lots more videos, including tutorials and different ideas for taking pictures. Go and check those out. You can also leave me a comment down below, or nip over to my Instagram account, that's @DoakdenPhotography. Leave me a comment there, and you can see lots of my pictures to give you some ideas. Now, if you like what I do on the channel and want to help support me to make future content like this, you can also visit my Teespring store. There I've got a range of merchandise on offer, like the t-shirt that I'm wearing now, and there's lots of new designs. There's a link for that down below in the description, so go and check that out. There's also the super thanks button as well, but you don't have to spend any money at all to support the channel. You can do that simply by clicking like, subscribe and the bell notifications, because that really helps me out and it makes sure that you don't miss out on any future content. Watch out for next week's video, that goes live on Sunday. In the meantime, you can check out this video just up here, but all that's left now is to say stay safe, and I'll see you soon.